I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, it's 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war.
What is up, everybody? It's your boy Fernando Pitti here with UVO Group, right here in the UVO studio, right here at Realty One. And today we have a special guest by the name of Bryan Godinez.
Yes, sir.
Godinez, nice, bro. So we found you, I mean, it was kind of interesting how you found us, because I think you seen like a podcast clip or something.
Yeah, I was just like seeing that you guys were doing podcasting and just trying to jump on any podcast that I can get. You know, it's like promotion, man.
Yeah, it's good. You sent me a text too, and in that text you were like, hey, I got my business. I scaled it in 1 year from zero to, over seven figures. I think you guys did in 1 year. Yeah. I remember that. Okay. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, man. In just 1 year. And we haven't had any contractors on, and before the podcast you shared with us about your experience, which was pretty cool, how you got started. And I thought it was actually really inspiring that somebody could go from having no experience and, learning about it, getting their test, passing it, and then moving on and starting a company, and going again from 0 to 7 figures. Pretty cool. But so just tell me what motivated you to do that? Because, I mean, you told me a minute ago you're from LA, right? Mm-hmm. You got a ton of tattoos, right?
A ton of tattoos, man, looking like a gangbanger.
Yeah, you don't look like a contractor.
Typical contractor, yeah.
When he walked in, I'm like, hey, bro, you want a beer? And he's like, oh, no. And I'm like, you got a bottle tattooed in the side of your head, bro.
True. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool, though. But, I mean, so how'd you get started?
So really, like, I was just done being broke, man. Like, done multiple jobs, and, like, I just wanted to do something that was lucrative, finally. I've done different type of businesses. I've had a food truck. I've been a tattoo artist. I've just tried everything, and just like finally I'm like, you know what makes money? It's like construction's like in the top 3, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. I didn't want to start as a laborer because that's not for me.
Yeah.
But I knew that I had the mindset to create a business since I've already started multiple. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna start this construction company without having any knowledge, and I just went for it, man. And I just learned along the way.
Wow. So how'd you start getting your first clients? Were you nervous about that?
I was nervous just because I didn't know the rules about measuring and how to charge and how to set up your profits. But when I got my first client, I just treated it as I was selling a car. I started as an auto salesman. So I sold cars. I started selling cars, and I did that for 6 years. And I said, if I could sell cars, I could sell concrete, right? And so the reason why I got into concrete was because my dad works in concrete, and he's been doing that for like the last 30 years. As far as working for a company as a delivery driver. So it's not like the actual trade, but he was in that world. So he knew a lot of people, and he knew that they were also making money. So he says, hey, how about you get into concrete? But the way that he approached it was, hey, how about you go get a job in that and make at least $20 an hour? So I got his piece of knowledge, but I just took it my way. And I said, okay, you know what? I'm not going to be a laborer. I'm going to start my own company. And that's just really how everything started.
That's usually how it goes with any entrepreneur, right? It's like you'll see an idea, and I think the average person will be like, oh, I like that idea. I want to do what they do. I want to get a job in that industry, right? And as an entrepreneur, I think you look at the challenge of like starting that business, and that's what excites you. Yep. And I always tell Alan, like, we'll talk like about, oh, that's cool. Look at what that guy does. That's pretty cool. And I always think like, I'd rather be the owner of that exactly. company instead of an employee there. You know what I mean? That's pretty cool. But you're from LA, so I mean, what brought you here to Salt Lake?
I think just family moved out here. I mean, it's been over 20 years. So I don't even say that I'm from LA anymore.
Yeah. From Salt Lake. From Salt Lake. If you leave Utah and you tell me from Salt Lake, they're like, no, you're not from Salt Lake, bro. You look like you're from LA.
Everybody's just like, you're from California, and I'm like, yeah. I'm really from Salt Lake, though.
So let's hop into your background a little bit, bro. I mean, so you grew up a little bit in LA. You grew up over here. Did you go to school out here at all?
I went to Taylorsville High.
Okay, me too.
Yeah, that was back in 2006. Dropped out. We moved to Mexico for like a year. Came back 12th grade. Went to Kearns High. Dropped out again, and then just started looking for work, man.
Typical entrepreneur. Huh?
I went to Hunter when the Granger dropped out, all in the 10th grade.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was like, this is not for me. You know, I really just wanted to get my driver's ed completed, get my license, and I was out. That was it. Yeah. For me, that was the equivalent to the diploma, right? It's better than the diploma was the driver's license. You know, it enabled me to drive and get around and hustle. You know, it's pretty cool. So you grew up around here, though, around Salt Lake Valley, right here, West Valley?
Salt Lake, Provo, too. And just kind of been back and forth.
Yeah.
But I've been here in Salt Lake for the last 5 years now. Yeah.
I feel like he would have fit perfectly in Provo. He would have fit right in Provo.
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Is your mic working?
No, it's not. I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
It doesn't like feel like it's working, huh? Wait, put it again. Give me a mic test.
Hello?
Yeah, it's working.
Oh, okay, now we're good.
Yeah.
All right, we're back.
Check the other one. The other, just turn it around. You can actually like turn it while it's there. Yeah, put that pop filter one on the right. And then
Hello?
there we go.
Okay, much better.
Yeah. Sounds kind of crazy. Yeah, these mics are interesting. We picked them up for like $50 a pop. I thought they were like the good ones, but I don't know. There's something.
I don't know, man. They sound pretty good with that Roadcaster.
Yeah, it does. It sounds pretty good, huh? So you didn't have any experience in the construction industry. Did you ever work as a laborer and do anything, drywall, anything?
Dude, honestly, I've never worked labor in my life. I've always been the type of dude to try to find the easiest job, and even though like I've been pushed into it because obviously you can make more money, it's like that just wasn't for me. Like it was crazy because one of my uncles like pushed me into getting this landscape job. This was like 5 years ago, and I went like for 4 hours and I quit. Like after, I was like, no, dude, this ain't for me, right? So, but just going back into how everything started with me, I was doing auto sales, and I went and got my license. But talking about how I got my first client, like literally I got my first client at the last day of school. It was this other contractor that was right next to me, and he's like, hey, what are you getting your license for? And I said, concrete. And he said, hey, I might have a job for you. I'm like, okay. And he was like, how much are you charging per square foot? And I didn't even know how much to charge. And I'm like, well, how much are you paying? Right? And he says, anywhere from $5 to $6. I'm like, okay. So we just set up this estimate. I went and like I watched YouTube videos like the night before on how to measure pads, right? Yeah. And I did like the whole measuring. I sent him the bid that I had to like make up on the computer. And crazy enough, like the next day, customer calls me back and it's like, hey, we want to move forward with you. It was like literally like I hadn't even had my license yet, and I was already booking that first job. And when I went and signed with them, I just approached it as I was selling a car. Like I just showed them like what we were going to be doing and what the total price, and can we move forward? And it was like literally that easy. So
wow. So the concrete thing, you never poured concrete in your life.
Never.
What the hell? I don't think I would have been that ballsy to take on a job and have never even like ran a mixer or anything.
Never, man.
So did you sub that out to somebody and just like?
I was able to find people that knew how to do it just off of Facebook groups. And I said, hey, I'm looking to pour this pad that was like 20 by 40. Anybody interested? And people that knew the trade somewhat, or I guess that they had experience because they went and did a really good job. But that was really like for me to get something on my resume so I can make a website. And that was also for me to learn the process. Like that first job was when I learned exactly what needs to be done to pour this concrete pad. Yeah.
Did you underbid yourself? Do you feel like did you make money? Were you profitable in the first job?
It was crazy because I didn't know if I was going to make money, break even, or lose money. I just knew that I had to start, and it was like a $15,000 job. And, we ordered the concrete, we rented a truck, we rented a Bobcat, and obviously paid labor. And at the end of the day, once we got the last check, like I had made $4,000 profit within like 3 days. So that's when I really realized, I was like, yo, like I'm never doing anything else again. It's like to make that amount of money in such a short period of time, like why would you even think of doing anything else?
Yeah.
So.
Holy shit.
That's good.
Good, dude.
Yeah, dude, not bad at all.
We might have to get into concrete.
I know, right? UVO Concrete coming soon.
Yep. Yeah.
Dude, that's pretty dope.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Dope. So right now, the way that you're driving traffic to your business, because we talked about this, is you guys are doing a lot of social media marketing, or you guys are doing like Google ads? Are you guys running ads? Like, how are you guys getting traffic to your
So
to your
now
business?
we do everything with Google ads. Like that's where we get our most traffic. I mean, we're getting 2 or 3 leads per day. Sometimes we get even up to 7 estimates that we have to do in one day. So it's like super busy. But we started door knocking. We did like the whole flyer thing, like Facebook groups, and just trying to get your name out there. That's like the most important part. And then obviously, like once you do a good job with somebody, then they start bringing you their other friends and family. So.
So that's what you've done this whole time, right? And then are you doing any labor at all yourself?
Sometimes, sometimes I just feel bad,
Want to help them out?
If I'm not doing anything, I usually go out with them and I'll act like I'm working. But nowadays, like for you to really scale your business, you really have to focus on just the sales part. The previous year, I was helping them, and I noticed that I wasn't closing as much deals because I was on the Bobcat myself, right?
Yeah.
So now it's like if I focus on just selling, then we're constantly getting work. So I just kind of push myself away from that position of being the foreman or even helping to where I'm just answering emails now.
Yeah.
And that's a perfect example. You work on the business, not in it.
Exactly.
And I went through the same transition, so I get it, man.
It's funny. I got a story about that. So the whole landscaping thing, right? Like, I did landscaping as a kid. I was like from 14 to like 16. I was working for a company called Cottonwood Landscapes, big ass company here in Utah, and we were doing water features, waterfalls, irrigation systems, but we focused mainly on the water features, big waterfalls, right? And like over on Walker Lane, we did a lot of properties over there. We did a lot of work for Jeff Hornacek, John Stockton.
Shit.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, right? These guys did like I said, $500,000 waterfalls, right? So I was working for those guys, and I'd always go to like the nursery, the yard, and help out the nursery too when I had downtime. And they had a Bobcat there that I didn't know how to drive, a little skidster, right? And so I'm like, I'm gonna try to drive that thing. So I get in and I learn how to drive it. And those things are cool. You could ride like wheelies on them and stuff, And so, and they had another tractor there. It was called a ditch witch, and little like trenching thing. And I didn't know how to drive that at all. I thought it was similar to the Bobcat. So I get on. Now I just turned 16, and I just got my dream car. I always wanted since I was a little kid. Right, it was a Mazda MX-6, super rare car. Like you don't see a lot of them. And I had it parked like right outside of the office. So I'm in the yard, right, with this ditch witch, and I don't know how to stop it. And it's going right towards my car. It's going right towards my car. And I'm like, what am I going to do? So I start turning it. And I got just close enough to where it didn't like smash the car, but it went at an angle. And they go so slow too, bro. They're like barely moving, right? And it's just like, just like grinding the whole side of my car, and I'm watching it. I don't know how to turn it up. Yeah, I hit it. So the whole side of my car is just like from the quarter panel back or forward all the way to the fender, a huge line, bro. And I was like, oh, and my friend was there. He's laughing at me. I felt so bad because it was the car I've always wanted. But funny thing about that job is I did it, and I was making like immigrant money, bro. Like I had papers too, and that's when I realized like I can't be a laborer. I'm making $6 an hour cash. And when I saw the kind of money they were charging for these water features, we did one in Heber, right, city of Heber, and we built an entire pond. We put like 1,000 trout. It was massive, bro. And like my dad and I built the whole thing. And we ran like the big backhoes, and we built like this nice water feature and everything. And when the job was done, it took us about a month to do. And my dad and I probably made only like $4 or $5 grand on that job. And the company made $500,000 on the job. And I was like, what? Like they didn't do anything special. We're just moving dirt and putting some rocks. Like there's a ton of pond liner, which probably was the most expensive thing. Then there was a couple pond sweep boxes and some pumps, but nothing crazy. Like maybe $40,000 worth of equipment or with the material. And after that, I'm like, there's no way in hell. This is like slavery. Like, there's no way in hell I'm ever going to do this again. So I quit on that job. And my dad was pissed. he like called the boss the next day. He's like, hey, Fernando's not coming in. I need you to call him. He don't want to come in. He's lazy, you know.
Oh, he was pissed at you.
My dad was mad at me, and he was trying to get the boss to convince me to come to work because
okay.
he couldn't convince me. And I'm like, no, I'm not going, Dad. Like, I'll drop you off. I'm not going to go. And he was pissed.
But you were mostly pissed because you knew how rich you were making them.
Yeah. I was like, I'm not doing this shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? And what really got me was the boss, the foreman, his best friend was supposed to be a laborer like us, but because they were best friends, they hung out all day, and he didn't work, and he was making more than us, and he was getting special treatment. And I was like, all right, fuck this. Like, I'm not going to be treated like this, you know? So I got out of it, and I got into the sales jobs after that. I got into car sales. We always curb cars as kids, auctions, hitting stuff like that.
Gotcha.
And then I got into the auto industry. I started selling cars, and that's where I learned. And it was about a 6-month gig. And in those 6 months, I learned everything about sales, you know? And
sales is key,
awesome.
man. Sales is what really... I feel like when you get a sales job, like, you really can't do anything else after that either, because like that's where you're uncapped, right? So talking about, like, you were saying how you felt like a slave, right? That's something that with my company, I didn't want my employees to feel. So that was something that I wanted to share too. It's like, you can get rich by having cheap labor and making these huge amount of profits. But I didn't want to treat the guys that were doing all of the work like that. So my approach was to treat my employees as business partners. So when I started subbing these jobs out, instead of paying them per hour, I started paying them almost like a piece rate. So I am doing that now. What I do is that I treat them as a separate company. So I say, hey, you know what? This job's going to cost me $50,000. I'm going to give you, let's say, $10,000. And they usually knock it out in 1 week. So these guys feel like they're making a crazy amount of money to them versus their old job where they were going to get, get like $15, $16 an hour. Now they're busting their ass. I don't have to be there because I don't have to babysit them, right? Now it's like, you're going to make $10,000 if you go and do this job in 1 week. And they usually go and do everything. Like, they're early. They don't leave until like 9 o'clock at night. It's like peace of mind for me because I don't have to babysit them. Number two, I know that if something were to go wrong, they have to fix it, right? So the way that I see it, it's like they're not looking for another job. Like, now they want to stay with me. So when I speak with them, I'm like, you are my business partner. You're not my employee.
Oh,
so
that's awesome.
Kind of gives them like free reign, and they can do whatever they want. But I'm taking care of them with the money portion, but they're also taking care of me because now we're just knocking out jobs faster and just doing everything better, right?
And that's a win-win for everybody.
Exactly.
That's the way I look at it.
Exactly. So I see other companies that they just want to do that like hourly pay, and it's like they're always losing guys, and good guys are hard to come by now. So if you find somebody good, like, you really want to have value and show them value that they're your business partner now, that they're not your employee.
Yeah. No, that's pretty dope, bro. I mean, yeah, that resonates with me because, I've done a lot of renovations on properties and commercial buildings and stuff like that in the past. And, me as an entrepreneur, I was always trying to get the most bang for my buck. And I was going for the guys who were hourly, low paying hourly, and I realized over time that, I don't have a big budget to work with to pay a company to come and do this. I'll try to find the guys, right? And I realized that you get what you pay for.
Exactly.
You get what you pay for. It got so bad that I'm like, I don't want to spend more than a couple grand on this job, so I'm gonna go and find some guys at Home Depot. But I know the good guys at Home Depot, the good guys at Home Depot, they won't move for less than $150 to $200 a day. The good guys, right? The cheap ones, they're usually drug addicts. Oh, yeah. They have the skills. Yeah. Or they're thieves too. They go to your job site.
Yeah.
I had a guy steal my camera before at my school. But we hired this guy, and I knew he was on drugs because he was just so excited to come work for me. He was like hopping up and down in the Home Depot parking lot, like all tweaked out, right? Yeah. So I'm like, all right, let's put him in the van. So we put him in the van, and we drive him to our job site. He's an electrician. And he gets a scaffold, and it's about like a 16-foot high ceiling and this commercial space, and he has to like rewire some lighting. So the guy's up there like playing with the junction boxes, and I'm like, hey, you want us to turn the power off? And he's like, no, I'm good. And I'm like, I don't know about that, bro. So I leave him.
Liability,
I leave him in the classroom at the school, right?
Yeah.
And he's like putting these track lights, and he's hooking them up to the junction box. And all of a sudden I hear the scaffold just shake, and then boom, the guy hits the floor. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I run over there, and he pops up like nothing even happened. He fell like 12 feet, bro, on concrete. And it didn't even hurt the guy. He was so like messed up on meth, bro. Like they feel nothing, bro. Dang. So he pops up and he jumps back up. I'm like, hey, you good? He's like, I'm good. And he's like bare hands messing with the wires. He got shocked and he fell off. And I'm like, I'm so happy this guy like
didn't die.
Yeah, number one, he didn't die, but there's nothing to prove that I'm paying this guy anything. Like he's not an employee or anything, right? But no, I realized I'm like, okay, I got to find a good contractor to work with that knows guys, that's vetted guys before who they can bring in to do the work, because these crackheads I'm picking up at Home Depot, they're just not doing the job.
I've also done that, man. You know, I've done like the whole Home Depot, and I've noticed that I've lost money because of it.
Yeah.
You know, because those guys, like, they want that piece rate for that one day, and then they usually slack.
Oh, they slack, yeah.
Oh, every time. We've dealt with them multiple times.
Yep.
Why? Because they want the second day, right? So it's just like...
They all want more work, but they can't complete the first job they got.
Exactly.
Like, oh, yeah, I'll do that too. I'm like, get out of here.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
that's something with contractors, you know, that sometimes you do want that cheap labor, and it ends up costing you more money. So, and that's something that I have in my sales course. It's just like doing everything the right way, so you don't have to go through all of that. It's like the things that I've gone through these last 2 years. I want the new contractor that's starting to not learn those lessons. Yeah. Just go step by step as exactly what I'm doing, so you could be successful.
Yeah.
Without having to run into those type of issues, right?
So let's get into that, because so first of all, here's what I love about you. Okay, you just started the business not too long ago. Mm-hmm. You had no experience before that. No experience. So there's something special about you where you said, hey, I don't care, I'm not scared, I'm going to start this business, I'm going to be successful and make it work. And then you turn around after just 2 years, and now you want to teach other people to do the same thing. So that's pretty cool, because a lot of guys will be like, oh shit, I figured something out, I don't want nobody to know how I did this. Yeah. Right? And so you guys are offering a sales course, right? So talk to us about that sales course. How can people find it? What is it for? How did it start? What gave you the idea?
So let's start with the idea. I was leaving New Mexico for the winter, which was last year. And that's when our season drops. So we don't work for 4 months because we do like sprinkler systems and then concrete. You know, you don't want to pour in the winter because then you have to like put concrete blankets in. So the work is just not there for us. So when you're used to making a certain amount of money every month, and now you're not working for 4 months, mm-hmm. I started thinking, okay, well, what do I need to do to start making money within these 4 months? So the idea came, well, let me write like a little pamphlet of how you can become a contractor. And it was just like this like crazy idea. Maybe it's going to be like a 4-page little pamphlet.
Yeah, 4 pages only to be a contractor.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's like just like the initial steps of how to get your license, because all of this information, it's on the internet, but you have to take months to research on how to do it. And that's what I went through. Like it literally took me 4 or 5 months of research to figure out how to become a contractor, right? It took me 25 hours to become a concrete contractor, but it's months and months of research. So I'm like, if I can make a little pamphlet and I can sell it to somebody for, I don't know, $20, and maybe I can share my knowledge, then maybe I can make some extra income coming the wintertime. So from that idea, it became into, well, how about we shoot a video? And then how to, you know, and then so that became a sales course. And then from a sales course, it's like, okay, well, how do we get leads for these new contractors? And then from the leads, well, then how do we start coaching these guys? So now it's like from a pamphlet, it turned into this whole like marketing agency where we're shooting people leads. We're offering this sales course, like a step-by-step sales course on how to do estimates, how to prospect, how to set up your brand, how to set up your profits, and just structure a game plan so you are successful, right? So that's how it started. It was just an idea, and within 3 months, we created this marketing agency.
It's Contractors Elite?
Contractors Elite.
That's genius, huh?
Yeah.
No, it really is, because right now the name of the game is lead generation.
Yeah.
For any business, right? For any business where you're out there, and again, commission businesses where you have to find leads in order to close them, in order to get paid. Exactly. And a lot of people, especially the older ones, the older guys in construction, the older guys in a lot of different verticals in business, they don't know the new game of lead generation.
They don't know
right?
that. Yeah.
They don't know that. Even real estate agents, we see them working, passing out business cards, doing it the old-fashioned way. That's okay, but you have these new guys who just start, who can catch up to them very quickly because they understand Google marketing, social media marketing, lead generation, right? And so that's what you guys have done, and you guys are offering that to people looking to start a business.
Exactly. So really, like, what my whole system was, if I could start from $0, zero experience, and am able to scale a business this fast compared to the contractors that have been doing this for 10 years and they're still like driving old trucks, like they still haven't been able to buy equipment, they still can't like scale and like actually make money. It's like I have this program for the guys that have been doing it for 10 years, but I also have the program for the guys that don't know anything about it. It's just a step-by-step. If you really want to get out of being like the labor guy and want to create your company, like this is the perfect route.
Will this work for asphalt? Will this work for electricians?
It'll work for any type of contract, because within the world of sales and within the world of contracting, it's all the same, right? It's like, how do I get customers and how do I close them? Whether you're an electrician or a concrete guy or a painter, like it's all the same.
I might have some people for him.
I'm sure we all do.
Yeah, because I got guys who are stuck in they're using word of mouth to get their business, but they're not able to scale. They have the same amount of guys, been doing it for years.
Exactly.
We have framers, sheetrockers. We have, I have an asphalt guy, really great asphalt guy. He's like the foreman, and he keeps telling me for years, I want to start my own company. He knows how much money they can make when they do asphalt, and I think they work for like the church, and the church pays them a ton of money. They redo all their parking lots. I'm gonna reach out to him. I'll put you in contact with him because he's been telling me.
I also want to talk about that. It's like when you meet people that are like, I want to start my company. It's just like months and months and years. It's like the thing that I want to teach about is like taking action. Like, what's the first step for you to start your company? And it's like, a lot of people waste their time watching TV or like playing games after their 9 to 5. It's like just changing the whole mindset of that you have to start taking action and that you have to start taking that window of when you are watching TV to start creating that side hustle, right? Another thing is speaking on that sloppy contractor. So teaching the people that are coming up to a job site with a cigarette in their mouth and writing an estimate on a piece of napkin. Like, that's what I want to teach. Like, it's like,
I haven't seen that yet. Does that really happen?
I come across them all the time that just, they're really good at working. They're really good at the contractor side, but they don't know anything about communicating with people or like setting up their profits or even like writing an estimate. Like, they're still doing it on a piece of napkin. And so that's what the sales course is. It's just whether you want to revamp your company or whether you want to start from the very beginning, it's like the step-by-step on everything.
You know what's funny is, so when you hit me up on Instagram, right, I was like, oh, cool, let's check this dude out. When it went to his Instagram profile, I only saw a couple posts on construction, right? On I didn't even know it was concrete, right? But I saw your lifestyle, saw you do your thing. And I'm like, this dude's just like us, man. Like, he's one of us. But no, I saw your stuff. You had like a grill in your mouth, diamond grill. Yeah. I'm like, he must be making a shitload of money doing this fucking contracting thing, because I don't see contractors rocking a diamond grill. You know what I mean? So, I mean, so it's been lucrative for you. It's been really lucrative.
It has been, man. It's like, it's really changed my life, my lifestyle, and not just mine, but like my family's. Like, when I guess the whole end goal is to like retire your parents and to be able to have like the workload that they have to eliminate it, right? Yeah. So that's really what my end goal is just to create wealth for the whole family, right? And but yeah, it's been lucrative for me because I was able to double down on sales versus the other contractors that are just making what the minimum is. It's like, well, you can make $100,000 a year being a contractor, and I've already surpassed that. And those guys have been doing it for 20 years. It's like, why have you gotten stuck there? It's because they have that capped mindset of, okay, I'm only gonna make, let's say, $8,000 a month, and I'm fine. It's like, why? I always ask those whys. It's like, why are you stuck there? Like, why don't you want to double your income, or why don't you want to scale your business to where now you're running 2 crews instead of 1?
Yeah.
And I think it all falls back into because they want to be there at the job site. And really what I've done is that I've stepped away from it.
You have to.
I've stepped away from it, and I was able to just focus on what the most money-making tasks are. That's it. And if I can teach that to other contractors, then they will automatically just scale their business.
Yeah. You know, you hit on something I think is important to all entrepreneurs, right? Because I feel like everybody universally have the same thing, and that's to help retire their parents. It's not about it's not about like, oh, I want to make the most money in the world. Like, it's just like, you know, I want to help my parents. I want to help my family. I don't want them to have to struggle. You know, and Alan, he can speak on that. I mean, this dude, I mean, you can share a little bit of your story, but like Alan, you know, he was a refugee, came from Bosnia. You came on a boat, or would you come in a FedEx box? How'd you get there?
We came on a plane.
You got lucky. Came on a plane. But no, it's pretty cool because he's achieved that. You know, Alan is, and I've watched him, known him 15 years, and I've watched him go from selling cell phones, selling coffee at Starbucks, and you know, his parents are pretty much retired now. You know, he's bought them a house. He buys them cars all the time, and I see that, and I'm like, fuck, that's so motivating. You know, because I feel like that's exactly what every entrepreneur wants. You know, they want to be able to give that to their family.
It fulfills you.
You know?
It does.
You know what I mean? You put the work in, you know, you make all that money, but what are you going to do with it? Like, you want to be able to share that, especially with your loved ones, your family, and make sure that they don't struggle, you know, the way they did, you know, growing up. You know, especially, you know, if you grew up poor, which all 3 of us did, you know how it is.
Exactly.
So once you find something that you're good at and you are passionate about and you can make some good money, you know, it's game over at that point.
Yeah, you want to share it.
Which is the beauty of it. Like, I love it. Like, I helped my parents get a home. I, you know, got them a couple of cars. Helped my brother get into a home. Help him get a car as well. Like, I love that. Like, that fulfills me.
It's actually,
and you don't expect anything in return.
Exactly. And then, but also we were talking about how, like, there's people that find a way to make money and then they just kind of keep it to themselves. I felt like I had pleasure in helping other contractors because nobody helped me. So when I found out that I can help somebody, like, I'm starting to even see more pleasure out of that than the actual money. So that's how, like, this whole Contractors Elite came up. I mean, it is lucrative too, which is going to help us out, you know, with, you know, within other businesses. But at the end goal is having that new contractor that doesn't know anything not have to go through the hurdles that I went to.
What does that remind you of right there, what he said?
Like,
what we went through?
oh yeah.
Same thing.
Oh, exactly why we started the team. Same thing.
Like, that was the exact reason why we started it. Because that way, you know, we had to eat shit. You know what I mean? I had to eat shit for years and years, for example. And I'm like, okay, cool. How can we expedite that so that way you don't have to? And I got a lot more pleasure and a lot more joy actually teaching and inspiring and helping out. Like, hey, you don't have to go through all the bullshit that, you know, a lot of people go through. Why not skip all that and get you, and get you producing? Which is what we're doing.
You know what it comes? It's exactly what you're talking about, bro. Because, you know, when you talk about Google ads and stuff like that, like, that's really what we do with our business. We do a ton of online marketing. We spend thousands of dollars a month. We spend damn near $20,000 a month, you know, just to be real, to generate leads for our team. And we take agents who are brand new, who've never sold a house, who've never talked to a client, never called a client, don't know how to prospect, and we teach them everything, bro. They come in here, we do call training, right? We show them what they got to do, walk them to their first appointments. Just the other day, I was taking out agents to knock doors, and I'm not a door knocker. But I did it because I want to show them how easy it was.
Show them how easy it is.
Yeah, it's not that hard, right? And we got, I got a lot of success out of it. The team's still learning, but it worked for me, right? Yeah. I got 5 appointments in 1 week, right? And so I'm just like, hey, this works. But it's good to have a mentor like that, especially if you're starting out new, you know, because you don't want to go through this shit. You don't want to go through all these hurdles that, you know, you had to go through or Alan had to go through. I was lucky enough that when I started, you know, I met Alan. Well, I've known Alan, but in real estate, I'm like, hey, show me what you do. And he showed me, and 2 weeks later, I had my first deal under contract. And I'm like, hey, this is a lot easier than I thought. But not because it's easy, it's just because he gave me the game plan, right?
Exactly.
Other people are doing it the hard way.
Game plan.
Yeah, that was the most important thing. And for our team, that's what we're doing. And you know, right now, Alan and I are like, hey, what's the next goal for us, right? We have the team. We've got lots of agents, got lots of clients. We have a really good brand right now. It's only taken a year to grow the brand, and everyone knows it. We're doing the podcast. People are not doing podcasts. So we're doing a lot of things that not a lot of people are doing, and we are showing everybody exactly what we're doing. Like, if somebody were to come in here and say, hey, Fernando, Alan, how are you guys getting your brand out there so easily? And I'm like, well, sit down, I'll show you. Like, I'm not going to hide it. You know what I mean? So that's why I love what you're doing, because at Contractors Elite, you're showing them exactly what you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah. But people got to put their money where their mouth is. You know, it's not free.
Also, yeah. I mean, obviously, like, there's cost of, like, having an office, of hiring, you know, like, your media managers and all that stuff. So it's not for free. But the message that I want to show the new contractors is that you have to spend money to make money. And a lot of people are scared to really invest in their own company, and that's why they don't grow, right? So by me saying, okay, it's going to cost you $5,000 a month with us, but we're going to get you 30, 40 leads. And then out of maybe one job that you close, you're going to get your money back at least. So it's like, and then, so if you start looking at it that way, it's just pocket change after that, right? So that's the whole thing that I want to teach people. Yeah, it is going to cost you money, but don't you want to make 3 or 4 times that every month? So, like, why are you stuck at only making $5,000 a month? Don't you want to make $30,000, $40,000? Yeah, you are going to have to spend that extra $5,000, but you are going to get your money back and then some. So that's, like, the biggest message, right? You guys spend thousands of dollars into leads, but you guys get that in return.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty much exactly what we're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah. So right now, what are you doing right now to get your message out there? To you told me that the sales course, you just launched it a couple weeks back, right?
Yeah.
What are some things you're doing to help get that out there?
So, different marketing tactics, you know, giveaways for new contractor. What we want to do is that we want to give a contractor that signs up with us, we want to give them like a brand new truck that they can use for their business, right? So if they have an old truck, like now they're going to have a brand new truck, we're going to wrap it for them, right? And then, so we're, you know, like we're doing giveaways. We're doing like multiple things as far as advertising. And then just going back to like calls, like there's so many, there's more than 700,000 contractors nationwide. When I started this whole thing, I just wanted to sell this to the people that were around my neighborhood. And then I really thought, well, why don't I go out like nationwide? And then, you know, why don't we hit Canada? It's like there's so many contractors that are stuck, that don't know how to scale their business, that are not taking care of their family. It's like, well, let me just teach you, even if it's just one piece of advice. It's like, you have to replace yourself. You don't want to be picking up the hammer no more. And you want to double down on sales. So if you're not a salesperson, learn how to sell. And if you don't want to do it, hire a salesperson for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's key, bro. Hiring a salesperson. I thought about that all the time in other businesses that I started. Was like, you know, I was a recruiter at my hair school I used to have. And I was like, hey, I don't want to be wearing all these hats. I'm the recruiter. I'm the receptionist. I'm the teacher. I'm everything,
yeah.
Right? It's like I need to start hiring out, and we started looking to hire out. And we were hiring out people for every position, and oh my God, like yeah, it costs money, but
it's crazy.
Just the amount of stress and the amount of time that I got back was just like it was worth every dollar. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, the recruiters sucked ass that we hired, right? But I can see that in a sales company, because you might be talking directly to laborers, you know, who are like, fuck, I know how to do everything. I know how to bid out a job. I know how to pour the concrete. I know how to do the work. I know how to hang the walls and everything. But I suck at sales. Well, it's like, okay, well, team up with a sales guy, right? Hire a sales guy. They might not have any experience in what you're doing, but if they can sell and you can train them on what to do, you can be successful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's that exact thing that you said. It's either you hire a salesperson or just learn how to sell, right? And that's what the course is about. It's a super simple sell, because the customer already wants it, right? So they're almost like all lay downs. Like it's just letting them know what you do, following the 4-step sales process and using the closing questions that are just super, super simple, man. Just super simple because, and there's some other things within the sales course that are to your benefit. One of them is that 9 out of 10 contractors won't pick up their phone because they're too busy, right?
That kind of reminds me of the agents too.
That's so true. Yeah, real estate agents the same way.
Yeah, they won't pick up their
suck at
phone.
answering the phone.
So just that, if you can just pick up your phone,
Yep.
you are going to already be on top of every other contractor. So that's just like one tip that I have on there. But yeah,
Let's go to the 4, what you just said. 'Cause you said the 4 steps. So
the 4-step sales process.
Yeah, but break them down. Let me hear it.
Okay, so this is actually something free that I'm giving to any contractor that signs up with us, right? It's simple. It's the meet and greet, which is introducing yourself properly to your new customer. So not being that sloppy contractor, right? Discovery, which is the second step.
Hold on, let's go back. Meet and greet.
Yeah.
So that's image.
Image, like
okay.
your branding, like, right? So it's like you got to dress for success. Like, are you that guy that's showing up in regular clothes, or are you showing up your logo? Are you showing up your brand that makes you a legit company, even if it's your first job, right? That's what I want to teach. So image, branding, introducing yourself properly. I've seen contractors that don't even talk to the customer. They just go and start measuring, right? The second step is the discovery phase. That's where you need to shut your mouth and not be the contractor that's telling the client what I'm going to do. Making sure that you are listening and that you're finding every single detail about the job, okay? Which only takes about 5 or 6 minutes. There's some other things that go in that. The third step is the benefits, why they should choose you versus any other contractor. That's where you start presenting your value within your own company, right? And then the last step is closing. For me, I don't close at estimates. I close in the follow-up. But what I like to do or want to do is to always have some sort of verbal close, a soft close, before I leave every estimate. So closing questions, really. And that's that 4-step sales process that I have.
Pretty simple.
So simple, huh?
Yeah.
Super simple.
simple.
I mean, the guys already want for you to go do the job.
Yeah.
It's just asking certain questions in a certain way that you are showing up excited to do that job, and the customer is most likely going to choose you versus the guy that doesn't do these things.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, image is everything. You know, we talk about it all the time. We really try to instill that in our agents. You know, when we first meet them, you know, they might come to the interview and Alan and I might be like, oh, you know, they look good. Or it might meet agents that come in and they don't look good. And I don't mean like, you know, like fat and overweight. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how well they take care of themselves,
Yes.
right? Because image is everything in this industry. And that was one thing that attracted me to real estate was because I came from the hair industry, and that's all image, right? And so when I was watching Alan and him doing what he did, I was like, hey, you know what I love about real estate is that no one's really focusing on presenting their image almost like a celebrity type of thing. All the guys on TV do that, right?
Yeah.
And I started talking to Alan about that. You know, hey man, we can do this, we can do that, and we started implementing these certain things and started portraying ourselves on social media in a certain way that drew a lot of attention and brought a lot of traffic to our business. And a lot of agents wanted to come to our company because they look at us and they're like, hey, who the hell are these guys? You know, Alan's driving a fucking Lamborghini.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not driving a crazy car. I'm driving a little Mercedes. You know, but you know, we present ourselves in a way that make people think that these guys are not your average agent. You know, and so I'm sure that with contractors,
and we're not.
Oh, we're definitely not, right? We're being real, right? But I'm sure it goes the same way with contractors. You probably don't have a lot of people that look at image like it's really important, but the ones who do are probably the ones at the top.
Yeah. So one thing that I have in the sales course is if you've never done any type of work before, if this is your first job, like for you to land that job, you have to have perceived value. So when that person meets you, you have to look like a legit company. So first things first, like you have to show up in a vehicle that has your logo. Otherwise, you're just a guy from Home Depot, right?
Yeah.
So everything is perceived value. So like within my trade, I probably don't want to show up in a Lambo, right? But
Yeah, definitely
do
not.
want to
Probably
show
not.
up.
We don't want to do that.
Yeah.
No, there's days when I don't show up either. Like depending on the appointment I'm going on to, like I'll be like, yeah, it probably wouldn't be a good idea.
I feel like, it's all depending on the client, right?
Yeah.
If you have a luxury client, then definitely want to show up with your whole crew or like with your whole, not crew, but like, let's say like with your trucks and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But
Look the
it's,
part.
yeah, exactly. You just want to look the part and make sure that you look the best for them, I guess.
Yeah. Like you're gonna fit all their needs, all their wants. So talk to me about. I know you got your first client from somebody at the class, right? The contractor's class. But after you got that client, what did you do to start getting your name out there? Because you had one job. Did you? I mean, did you go straight to the online ads? Were you?
No. So it was my first client, and then it was a referral within the next
from
week.
that client?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was like literally like in the same neighborhood. And I got super excited. I'm like, man, everybody wants concrete. And then got a couple of more jobs after that. I was able to grab that money, invest in myself within flyers, website. And then winter hit for me, and I didn't have any work for about 4 months. Next year came by and just started doing like flyer runs, word of mouth, just like Facebook. And I didn't know anything about social media. But my brother, the one that I have the marketing agency with, he started really helping me out as far as, well, how do we get traction online? Like, how do we become the concrete company that is pulled up on Google when somebody, searches it up? Getting Google reviews is what helps you. Different places like Craigslist or like KSL helps. But we're really
You didn't do any of the back page stuff?
not the back page.
Back page, you can't find concrete on there?
It's funny. They closed that page down, didn't they?
Dude, the funny thing about Backpage, back when I used to be a room service at Little America Hotel, I would meet all these these older guys, extremely successful, politicians, NBA players, you name it, and I'll be delivering food to them, and they'll be literally like picking out a girl right there off of Backpage. I built this relationship with these guys, and we hit it off. He's like, "Hey man, come here. What do you think about this one?
You want one?"
And I'm like, "Well, I'm over here trying to earn my tip."
Uh-huh.
And he's like, well, should I order her? Should I order her? And I'm like, she's pretty good. So he would order them, and an hour or two later they'll be there, and then he'll call me up, to bring him food and liquor and everything. I'm like, oh, that was the girl that was there that he just ordered. and that's how I found out about Backpage.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've known about Backpage for a long time, but
Yeah, that was one. I don't know if people were going there for looking for jobs in concrete though. I'm sure you could, but that's not the place for
some
it.
labor.
Yeah. No, that's good, bro. But so your business has it's gotten to have a comfortable lifestyle right now. Obviously, you're still grinding. You're in the hustle mode.
We're still growing.
Still growing.
I feel like I still need to hit another stage in it. I'm still a small company. I don't want to say that I am a big company. I'm still one of the little guys. But I don't see it taking years.
Yeah.
But sometimes I also think about growing too fast and finding those great workers. And I feel like I just need to hit a certain amount of sales to be comfortable, but also to reinvest in to other businesses. So right now, I started this concrete company, but I'm moving away from that to help other contractors. And if this is more lucrative for me, I'll just keep the concrete company as passive income where it's running by itself, but not growing it too much.
Yeah. No, I think I actually know you'll have a lot of success with the Contractors Elite.
Oh.
Like, I mean, when you were talking about it, I was thinking about it, even for myself, because, I thought about getting my contractor's license because the whole home flipping stuff, having the ability to pull permits, not deal with the city and trying to go around them, and not having to pay a contractor to do that if you're the one doing all the work.
Exactly.
And I've done that in the past where I had to pay a contractor just to pull a permit for me, and I just met him the one time. and I paid him. I never saw him again, and I had to do all the work, you know. And so I was like, what the hell did I pay that guy for? You know, just to pull a permit. You know what I mean? So I thought about that, and I'm going to share your company with some of my friends who are in that position where they're, you know, they're doing the labor, they're doing these side jobs, they're finding their work from, you know, people like us, you know, other real estate agents who are looking for little jobs around the house, but they're not a real established company yet. And I know that what they're missing is exactly what you're talking about. So I know there's a need for that.
There is definitely a need.
Yeah, I know there's a need for that. We thought about doing that, you know, for agents. You know, Alan, he got hit up from probably thousands of people when you did your post about you buying the car.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and how you put it on the real estate mastermind. It's like a nationwide Facebook group. And we always go and put stuff on there just to try to get our brand out there. But Alan, he posted a thing and he told a story about how he went from nothing to now driving a Lamborghini, owning a successful company, and you know, doing really well in such a short period of time. And people were hitting him up saying, "Oh, can I come work for you? What I got to do? Teach me. Mentor me."
Things began blowing up right after that. And
it's because once you have the knowledge, it's like you can monetize on that. I never for a second thought that I would become a coach. Like,
yeah, me neither. I never wanted to be one.
Yeah, same. It's like, and now I'm going to be doing coaching and flying out to these, you know, different contractors nationwide and just setting up their game plan. It's like one of my biggest fears was like public speaking, and now it's like now I have to do it. But it's all a process, man. It's all just like bettering yourself, right?
Alan, you got to do that, bro. I talked to you about that. I was like, dude, let's give the people what they want. Let's put together a coaching system based on Alan's system, because I did exactly what he said. I was right there with him. And in 2 weeks, I was closing deals. And I'm like, what? Was that easy? And again, it's not that easy, but it's just I knew the game plan.
And you know what's crazy? Is that people will pay for that.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, because it works. And the reason why he's watched me come up my whole career. And it's like I had a 3-year period where I made over $1 million in 3 years, which is like fucking insane.
Yeah, profit.
Uh-huh.
So the way he got me into it was, you know, at my school, you know, we were it was a startup school, you know, it was a new school. We had students, we were doing, it was haircuts and stuff like that, color. And we were to a point where we were bringing in about $50,000 a month in revenue. But we were spending about $50,000 a month to keep the business open. We had 21 employees and this and that. And I'm like, wait, how much money are you making, Alan? And Alan's like, about $50,000 a month. And I'm like, but you don't have any employees. You don't have an office. You don't have any overhead. You're keeping all that $50,000
for you. Yeah.
And I'm like, something's wrong here. I gotta get the fuck out of this business that I'm in, and I gotta do what Alan's doing because he's keeping all his money and I'm spending all of it just to keep my fucking company going. You know what I mean? And so when I saw that, I'm like, okay, if I'm going to do real estate, I'm not going to do it with anybody else, because of course I have other friends doing it. I have, you know, when I went to the school, I had people poaching me, trying to recruit me to work for them, other brokerages. And I'm like, no, I'm not really trying to be a real estate agent. I'm just trying to make some money. I want to do what Alan does. You know, he could have been cleaning up dog shit for a living. If he was making the kind of money, I'd be right there with him. You know, and so when I looked at it, I saw his system. And, you know, Alan learned it from a guy named Dave Parker, who's got an amazing team. And Alan taught me, and then I learned a little bit from Dave. But when I saw what Alan was doing, I'm like, hey, I know how to do this. This is exactly what we do in our school. This is lead generation, right? And then the training came along with me, shadowing Alan, you know, following him every day, you know, like being his shadow and just picking up everything that he did. And I didn't develop any bad habits because I didn't learn from anybody else. You know, and so when I started doing it and it worked, I'm like, hey, we can do this for other people, because there's a lot of agents who are struggling right now and they just don't know the system.
They just don't know which way to start, right?
Yeah. So you got to get going on that.
We do. I know we talked about it. We talked about it.
Yeah.
But I think it's time, though. I think it's time we put it together.
Yeah.
And we give the people what they want.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's time.
I think if you did a sales course and if you just did that coaching and then just do exactly what I'm doing.
It's simple,
it's like
dude.
Literally, you can go nationwide.
That's the plan. We want to go nationwide, you know. Like we talk about UVO, we want us to, you know, we want to open up in Nevada, Nevada's very own. CVO for California's very own. Just build.
Yeah. It's going to happen. That's the one thing that Alan and I, we created this interesting dynamic between the two of us where Alan is such a driver. You know, he's so focused and he's able to pretty much achieve whatever goal he sets. You know, I'm the same way in a different way. You know, Alan is very like laser focused. I'm like huge, and Alan helps me laser focus, you know.
Gotcha.
So Alan and I will sit down and we'll have our brainstorming sessions, and we'll be like, hey, what should we do? What should we do here? What should we do next? And then I'll throw out these random ideas because I'm thinking so broad. And Alan's like, oh, that will work. You know, and I'm like, okay, let's go with that one. And then we go and we execute. And that's the other thing is like people need to execute, because you can give them a game plan all day. You can tell them what to do, but not everyone's going to have the focus and the drive to follow it.
Focus, and then mostly just taking action, man. Like, I have so many friends that saw my success story, let's say, when I knew them 2 years ago when we were just getting drunk every night, right? And it's like, they're still in the same position, and they ask me like every 3 or 4 months, it's like, man, I'm ready to take the leap. I'm like, let me know when you actually want to get started. And then another 4 months pass.
It's like, same story.
It's like, oh, it's like, if I could just, one piece of advice is just take action, just get started, man. It's like, I'm not going to do it for you, but take action and do the first step, man. That's it.
What do you think the issue is with people not taking action? Do you think it's they overthink everything? Do you feel like they need to perfect it before they start it?
Yes.
They have to have all the answers.
One thing is that they want to perfect everything. They want to know the trade before they start the company.
True.
And I started backwards, right? So the other thing would be that they always have the excuse of that I don't have time. It's like, because maybe they have a family already, or maybe they have a job, right? When I started, I was broke and I didn't have a job, right? So that was my only route. It was that or go work at Amazon, and I wasn't gonna go work at Amazon, right?
Yeah.
So for those guys that don't have time, you have to create that window when you're just bullshitting to when you start working at those 4 hours.
Yeah. That's the difference between a real entrepreneur and, like Mark Cuban says, a wantrepreneur.
A wantrepreneur. I always talk about that, man.
They always have an excuse, right? There's always something in the way. I have friends right now who have so much talent. I have one friend, and I'm not going to say shit because he's going to get mad if I call him out. But
all they do is talk.
This dude has so much fucking talent when it comes to one thing. And I'm like, bro, you're posting about it constantly. You're such an amazing, like, you'd be so great if you started a business doing that. And there's always an excuse like, well, I have a full-time job. I have a family. Okay, cool. Again, I know you can find the time still having a family and a full-time job. But then they have the other obligations that they think come with having a family and a job. And this is where the sacrifice comes in. And if you're an entrepreneur, you won't sacrifice. If you're an entrepreneur, you'll fucking sacrifice. Exactly. And that's the time with vacations and birthday parties and family reunions. And it's like every weekend you have a family friend who has a birthday, or you don't have to go to all of those.
Exactly.
You don't have to go to your sister or your girlfriend's brother's birthday. Like, take those 5 hours and focus it on your business, right?
On, like, just get like the LLC started. Once you get the LLC started and it's in your name, everything becomes real. And it's like, just take that one step, man. Just get started. That's literally what I just want to teach everyone, just to get started. And I think that's what the difference between me and all of my other friends is. Like, I actually started, right? I had this same knowledge as them. We didn't know anything, but now it's been 2 years, and it's like, people can assume that I know everything about it, which I probably don't, but at least I took the action into starting with that first step. And yeah, man.
Well, I feel like it's that consistent action, consistently showing up to work.
Yeah.
Because the reality is, it's like, you call 100 people today, you don't close the deal. What are you gonna do? Just be like, oh, this thing doesn't work. I can't sell concrete. I can't sell real estate. But you still show up day after day, week after week after week, month after month, and you're like, oh shit. Then you get the ball rolling. But too many people, they want that. It's like going to the gym.
Instant thing. And that's something that I teach within our master program, within Contractors Elite. It's like, okay, I want you to sign up with us, but we're not going to do 30 days. We're going to do 90 days. And I do that gym thing where it's like, are you going to see results within 30 days or better results within 90 days? So I don't want to promise anything within the first couple of weeks, but let's just try it for at least 90 days, and I will guarantee your return of investment.
Yeah.
The funny thing is we pretty much have that same rule, 90 days.
90 days. Yep.
90 days is what it typically takes a person to get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
Because usually that first month, they're in it, but they're not in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're pretending. They're like, yeah, I want to do this concrete thing or this real estate thing or whatever it might be. but they're not actually putting the work in. And then typically you have that switch shortly after. I don't know if it's around month number 1. I mean, after month 1 or 2, etc. But I see that happen with all the new agents too. Yeah. Where in the beginning they're not showing up on time. They're not prospecting. They're just goofing off. They're coming in late. I'm like, hey, how bad do you want it? Like, if you don't,
exactly,
get out.
Like really, how bad do you want it?
Yep.
Yeah. We've had conversations with agents in the past that we've had to let go, and I've talked to Alan about it, and we confronted a couple about this, and I told them, when we have somebody start and we understand, Alan, I know it's going to take some dedication, sacrifice. You might have to be late on some bills. You might have to tell collectors to get in line. I've done that in the past. Knowing that, hey, if I do this and I follow the system, that the money will come. I just have to be consistent. And we've had situations in the past where we had agents who are part-time, and they're not full-time. And Alan and I know you can't be successful if you're part-time. You got to be full-time. Yeah. And or at least successful to what our version of successful is, right? And so we've talked to people where they're like, okay, I'm going to quit my job. And Alan and I have sat back and said, well, does this person really have what it takes if they quit their job, right? And that's what I think people need to ask themselves. Like, if they know they're not disciplined, if they know they can do it without having someone tell them to do it, if they have that self-discipline, that self-motivation to get the fuck up in the morning and do what they have to do, then they'll be good. And we have confidence in them to quit their job, right? But if there's somebody that Alan and I don't have confidence in, we told people in the past, like, hey, we don't think you should quit your job.
Yep.
Because we don't want that on us. Like, we told we told you to quit your job. No. We've given you the opportunity to prove yourself in this much time. It's been months and months and months, and you still haven't produced. Something else is going on here, right? There's a lack of intention. There's a lack of effort.
Maybe even like a lack of knowledge there too.
Right? On this one, it was a lack of commitment.
Yeah, that was the number one thing, commitment.
And Alan and I said this in the past, like, and this is for you to tell your contractors as well, is like, you cannot be more committed to their success than they are.
Exactly.
And you can give them everything in the world, all the tools.
I can give them all of the leads and I can show them how to close, but if they're not picking up the phone, it's like...
We ran into that same issue early on, where we were just being too generous and like, hey, here, take it. Like, we wanted it more for them than they did, but it doesn't work like that. Yeah. They got to want it just as bad and more.
That's why every client is not your client, right? So it's like, when I do my sales call, it's like, I want to partner up with somebody that's going to answer their phone. If not, then see ya, right? Yeah. Somebody that actually wants it. Somebody that wants to really be successful and that are going to get away from all of their old habits. So,
I want to talk to you about getting the contractor's license.
That's smart.
25 hours?
Dude, you should.
I'm going to grab my license.
Perfect timing. We're doing a lot of flips now.
Exactly.
We're going to start developing quickly soon here.
Yeah, I'm going to have to grab that license.
As far as this, the 25 hours, it's like super simple. You just have to go to a course for like 3 days, and there's no test. There's nothing. You just go, but it limits you to a certain trade. So you do want to be able to be in that trade for at least 2 years to get your general's contractor's license, which then now you can subcontract for everything except for electricians and plumbers. Those, they have their own license, which those takes like 5 years to get.
Yeah.
So
they go through like the journeyman process and apprentice.
As far as the contractors license, like the general contractors where you can sub everything out, I think it's about 2 years. But once you get your specialty, then being in business for 2 years, then you can jump onto your generals.
Oh, nice. Is that what you're planning on doing?
I've gotten my generals since last year.
Oh.
Because I expanded from just concrete to like fencing, sprinklers, just like different things. Yeah. But I really didn't want to dive into anything else like roofing or anything, just because I knew that it was going to be like a learning process for me too. So I was like, you know what, let me just stay in my lane. Let me just focus on what I know how to do and scale from there.
Yeah.
Dude, if it's working, keep doing it.
Exactly.
Do what you're good at. That's what we do. We do what we're good at.
That's it. We stick to it.
We just stick to it.
Yeah. That's it. Houses. Houses and people, relationship building and communication.
Exactly.
That's really it, bro. So, dude, thank you for coming today. I'm so happy we finally met you.
Man.
I'm sure we're gonna pick up some golf soon. I saw your swing; it's fucking terrible.
Oh, let's do it. Mine too, man.
I go golfing like, let's say, once a year.
Yeah, me too. You too.
I
Yeah.
went last weekend, and I'm like, fuck, I gotta work on my game, man.
Yeah, we suck. But let's give you a plug for your business, man. So your concrete company is Next Level or Level? What is it? Level
It's
Up.
Level Up Concrete and Landscape on Instagram and Facebook. The website's Level Up Concrete Utah, and then the whole teaching other people how to become contractors or scale your business. It's contractorselite.pro.
Okay, perfect, man. Well, dude, thanks again for having for coming on. Alan, thanks for coming in today. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, it's 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war.